So I represent an entity called Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, which is a joint initiative of Government of Telangana and Data Security Council of India. So today we will be discussing about artificial intelligence and the cybersecurity risks associated with it. So before I dig into the subject, I would like to cover some key elements first, like why we are talking about AI at this point in time, and why you have to know about cybersecurity risks associated with artificial intelligence as well. So, can you turn off these lights, please? So, we'll be covering the following key topics: the AI life cycle, the different risks associated at every stage of this life cycle, understanding the critical vulnerabilities associated with the AI system at each phase, and also the use cases, learnings, and way forward, how the future for AI will look like. So, in recent times, since ChatGPT has come out, we have been listening about AI too frequently, and we have been using AI more predominantly in these few years. Maybe it was in 2023 or end of 2022, if I'm not wrong, for preview models. So, why we are talking about that is because it has recently witnessed a rapid acceleration in its development. Integration across various sectors, profoundly impacting industries, economies, and societies worldwide. As simple as writing an email, completing your assignments, doing your homeworks, you are still using AI. In the same way, the whole industry across the globe is adapting and evolving in terms of usage of AI. So, why you are seeing this sudden surge in utilization of AI and the technological advancement that you have seen in the past 3 years? So it is because significant breakthroughs in machine learning and deep learning. And then if you look at it, massive advancement of computational capabilities. So anyone knows what is the current GPU that is being used in the industry? Guys, please settle down at the end. Try to listen. This is for your own benefit. So why we are talking about AI is because now everyone is talking about how you might be losing your jobs to AI, but that's not the fact. So as NVIDIA recently has quoted in their all documentation also that you will not be losing your jobs to AI, but to the people who know and use AI far better than what you guys are doing or at the stage that we are in right now. So while AI technologies have advanced and enhanced efficiency and productivity, remain susceptible to an ever-growing number of security threats and vulnerabilities. So the more adaptation we see with respect to AI, there will be significant amount of cyber risks that will be coming in. So AI systems are high-value targets. So any AI engine or a model that you are talking about has been trained upon billions of parameters. So what is the current GPT model? Okay. What was the advanced reasoning model of ChatGPT? Not 4.0, it was O1, frankly. So it is actually trained on more than 200,000 plus token size with a training model which is ranging between 20 billion to 1 trillion data sets and parameters. So that is the reason that amount of humongous amount of information has been used to train an engine. That is the reason they become high value targets. So the need of the hour, so why we are discussing that subject here today. So the rapid evolution of AI calls for a deeper grasp of new AI specific risks. So since you have understood how to use AI now, you also have to anticipate the risks associated with an AI system. Comprehensive strategies are needed to address these emerging threats. So any conventional knowledge that you have learned until now will not be useful in terms of catering to the risks associated with AI. Importance of governance and regulation. So ensuring AI development aligns with ethical and secure standards is crucial. Policymakers and industry leaders must collaborate to create protective measures. So the moment we talk about AI, there are a lot of positives that people are talking, but there are also huge amount of adversarial attacks that we are seeing in the recent times. Recently, I believe you have come across Rashmika Mandana's case also, right? A famous celebrity whose images and videos were morphed. That was with the help of something called as deep nudes. So where you can actually create some explicit content out of a single image of an victim, frankly speaking. So for that, how to ethically use AI, we need to have proper regulations and boards which can actually oversee the usage of AI. So how the security landscape looks like for AI in recent times. So European Union, US, China, Japan, and Korea are actively researching on AI specific risks. It is not that other countries are not doing it, but these countries are predominantly focusing on AI specific risks. So UK's CAIRF, it is like AI risk management framework that they are building, and AI task force, which is actually working proactively to understand the risks associated with AI and how we can tackle those risks. So what are the current gaps that we see in the recent times? Limited studies covering every stage of AI lifecycle. Real world attack mappings are often overlooked. So you don't know what are the, what you call vulnerabilities inside a system, or when you can say a system is 100% complete. So recently, anyone knows what is Google Gemini? So it is similar to ChatGPT, right? So every mobile phone, I believe any Galaxy handset is also coming up with Gemini on their mobile phone as a default program or an application. So what happened in the initial phases after the testing was done, once it was made public, a user was trying to interact with some sort of use case or a situational story. The moment he was trying to interact with it, during the course of conversation, he asked for a suggestion from the Gemini model, and it suggested to go and kill himself. So it is not that it was not trained properly, it was not that there were no sufficient security guardrails, but there was some sort of bypass with respect to the ethical guardrail that was set up by Google. So we really don't know how the AI is thinking and working, and what are all the different ways in which we can bypass those ethical guardrails. If you go to ChatGPT and ask what are all the torrent websites from which I can download free movies, it is definitely going to give you a long story and a paragraph saying this is not good, you shouldn't be doing this, etc., etc. And it will say, please don't ask me such questions. But if you tweak the question a bit, if you tweak the prompt a bit and say, I want to be the good guy, I don't want to come across any torrent websites, can you please tell me what are the websites which I should be aware of? Immediately it will give you all the historical amount of information related to torrent websites. So that particular bypass technology that is out there, or the tactics that the perpetrators are using, that is still not clear. So that is why we are talking about such risks also here. So there are many organizations which are working with respect to identifying the security risks, coming up with some technology which can help us bypass those particular security risks associated with AI. So some of the notable companies are Anthropic, you can see there, OpenAI, Google Gemini, etc. So AI lifecycle, it will be useful for you guys if you are starting to enter into the career with respect to any technology or which is associated with AI. So there are 4 critical or key phases in AI lifecycle. The moment you are actually thinking about creating an AI system, so identifying a problem statement, from there to creating the final output using AI or any open source model that is out there, it is incorporating 4 key phases. So the first phase is the design phase, where you do the project planning, where you want to use AI, what is the problem that you would like to solve, or what you want to achieve using AI. So that is what is defined in this phase. So project planning, data collection, and data preparation. So what type of data will be required? Anyone knows what is ontology in AI? So for example, I give you a booklet or a paper with junk, like a ton of numbers. Will you make any relation or meaning out of that? You will not be able to do that, right? Because there is something called context which is missing. The moment I say these are geographical coordinates, the moment I say these are phone numbers, you understand that, okay, phone number is 10 digit. If at all a bank number, it is some 12 to 16 digit. So you can identify that I can actually create a pattern out of these numbers inside this paper. But for AI system, you have to supply context, and at the same time, you have to create relations between the billions of parameters that you are injecting into an AI model. So that is where ontology subject comes into picture. Then after designing, after understanding what is the problem statement, what do you want to achieve, and what type of data that you have to collect in order to enhance your data, AI model, that is where the first phase will come to an end. Then comes development phase, where you develop a model or utilize an existing model for your particular use case. Then you run something called as validation benchmarking, whether it is performing the intended operation, or if at all you are building an AI engine for research, for example. So recently NVIDIA has come up with a new AI model only for gene and genomic research. So that complete data set with which it was trained on is for only professionals who are working in this particular community only. And then comes the deployment phase, where try to start a new system altogether, or you integrate with the existing systems inside an infrastructure. And then next comes performance testing, and then comes performance evaluation. As I said, like after Gemini was released, it was working fine. Initially, ChatGPT was struggling to answer whether 1 plus 1 is equal to 2 or not. I believe you might have come across many examples where GPT was failing to reason to the questions that the users were trying to ask. So that particular performance evaluation, whether it is performing the intended operation or not, is the question. And then even after deployment, you have to cater to that particular AI system in the maintenance phase. For maintaining proper performance, you do performance monitoring and model update and refinement. So there is this key risk of model decay that we call. For example, if I am talking about some sort of historical data with respect to pulmonary diseases, so anything with respect to respiratory functions or any viruses that have been affecting in the humanity, so it has to be up to date. So someone is talking about any research before 2019 or 20, it makes no sense, right? So it has to be up to date. You have to update it. Any changes that come in, any framework updates that come in, you have to include that in your model. So we'll talk about each phase, what each phase is actually talking about in depth, and what are the controls that we are establishing in each phase. So as I mentioned, what is the purpose of design phase? To establish the foundation of AI integration by understanding the problem domain and setting up the goals. So you identify that I'm going to use this for XYZ purpose. For this, I would require XYZ parameters to be included in my system. So then actions covered in this particular phase is problem identification and domain understanding. Then comes data gathering and preparation for relevance. Then comes algorithm selection based on suitability of the problem. So what type of technology or the algorithm or a model that you would like to use for this particular use case. And prototyping to validate key concepts and feasibility. So you have to come up with a small scale model first to understand whether it is able to generate that particular throughput that you are expecting out of this particular AI model. And then in the development phase, you build and refine the AI system to achieve desired performance. So you would like to create what you call a desired performance out of this particular AI machine. So you are providing a lot of raw information to the system. Now you want to refine the outputs that are generated by this particular machine. So data pre-processing to ensure quality and consistency, implementation of algorithms and training AI models, model evaluation and optimization to meet performance metrics, and then iterative experimentation for fine-tuning and improved effectiveness. So this is one of the key steps in the development phase, where you have to perform iterative experimentation for fine-tuning. So a lot of times there will be some guardrails which will be bypassed, and one of the key risks with AI is it can hallucinate. Right, it can assume things, it can actually think about some sort of situation and give some what you call a memory based output. So what it can do, it has something called as a cognitive ability. Just like you and me, AI machine is gaining traction because it has the capacity to think with whatever information it has been trained on, right? And it has the risk of hallucinating. So they have to fine tune and improve the effectiveness of the system. Then comes the deployment phase, where you integrate the AI system inside your infrastructure to begin the operations or to achieve the output that you envisioned for this particular AI system. Then what are the actions covered? Scaling the trained model for real world applications, assessing and ensuring operational performance, implementing continuous monitoring frameworks to detect performance drift or issues. So feedback collection to address challenges in real time conditions. So what we are trying to do here, so since you have trained it with raw data, you understand your problem statement, you understand the operations that the system has to perform. Now you are going to extract that particular information on how it is actually performing. Based on all the inputs and parameters that you have fed into the machine, now we are seeing how it is able to perform, if there are any tweaks or refinements required. So the beauty about new AI models is they come with something called as chain of thoughts and tree of thoughts. Right, COT and TOT we call it. So that is where the reasoning element comes into picture. So before answering your question, for example, you ask it to write a report or an assignment for you. It will first assess the situation, the level, what is the requirement, what is the topic, what are the recent trends which have happened in that particular topic, and then it will come out with a meaningful output. That is achieved through something called as chain of thought and tree of thoughts. So then comes the maintenance phase. So many times we misinterpret saying that deployment is the final phase in AI, but the key phase will actually start after the deployment, where you assess the performance in the deployment phase, but after that you are going to also maintain that model, which is a very cumbersome process in today's time with the technological limitations and the price quotient that we have. So ensure the long-term reliability, security and relevance of the AI system is the primary purpose of maintenance phase. Then monitoring system performance and retraining models as needed. So there will be many advancements that come in. Sometimes some theories get proved wrong. Now you have to update and make sure that the machine is up to date with all the relevant information. Bug fixing, implementation updates and security enhancements. So if you have identified any third-party APIs or the initial AI APIs itself have to be updated. Now we have to update that in the maintenance phase. Periodic compliance checks to align with regulations. So India is also going to come up with its own regulation or standard for AI. So they have already come out with a certain regulation. It is not a complete regulation kind. They wanted to create a proper draft at least to start with. It didn't go through, but India is also starting its own journey with respect to AI regulations. So now we have to understand about what will be the anticipating vulnerabilities in each phase. Sorry, I didn't connect my laptop, but I have different phases in which we have different vulnerabilities. And because of these vulnerabilities, what type of impact it will create for the AI system. So in the design phase, you can anticipate with respect to security architecture. So improper architecture with respect to security by design and privacy by design, if you won't consider it, it might pose a challenge for the AI model in the future. Inadequate threat modeling. So you don't know from where you can be hacked or what are the different areas from which this particular model can be hacked. So that particular threat modeling has to be of primary importance in design phase. Then comes insecure authentication and authorization. So only the intended users have to have the access to access the data inside it or to feed the information to the system. So that is what we are talking about here. Inadequate output encoding, insecure data storage and transmission, insufficient error handling and logging. So this we could actually mimic with any open source model that is out there. So there is a website called the Hugging Face, where you can actually go to the website and download any AI model that is out there. You can try it out. Not only about chatbots, you have very good AI models. There is something called as SML along with SLMs along with LLMs, frankly. So LLMs, maybe your systems will not hold them, but SLM, if you go for any specialized language model or a small language model, so you can directly run it on your own laptop or desktop. So you just require some minimum of 16 GB RAM in your laptop and it should be good enough to work. So you can explore those particular AI models. And then comes with respect to development phase, we have something like code recommendations, like what are the code components that you are using. It might be for the AI system itself. So AI system itself and also the third party libraries that you are using. And then unsecured data handling in AI system. So you have to identify what are the data, like a critical amount of information that is being fed, which has to be classified as sensitive or a business specific use case data, etc., etc. So you have to have that particular data handling procedures in place. Weak access controls, so like anyone can access any critical part of your system, then it makes no sense. Inadequate input validation and sanitization. So there is a lot of risk of injection vulnerabilities inside an AI system whenever you are accessing chatbots, especially. That's what we are talking about. And insecure AI supply chain. I'm not sure how many of you understand AI supply chain. Supply chain is nothing but anything from that you can assume. For example, say any crop or any vegetable that you are buying in a market, it is actually coming from a small seed towards what you call a supermarket from where you are purchasing. A lot of intermediaries are involved in this particular process. So this is what we call a supply chain. So from raw material to finished good, whenever we are talking about, we have to consider both hardware and software for supply chain. Anything can be rigged or ensure that the vulnerability can be leveraged to hack that particular system. Inadequate asset protection for AI and software. So you are anticipating some risks but you are still not having any security guardrails in place, it's going to pose a threat for the system. And then for development phase, we are talking about APIs. So APIs are to make those particular third-party calls or to fetch and retrieve any information that is deemed necessary by the AI system. So in the chat GPT, if you go there, it will give you two options. One is to reason and the other one is to search the web, right? So whenever you are clicking on that, it is actually using a third-party library or an API to actually fetch that info. And then infrastructure wise, any hardware or software that we are talking about, operating systems, etc., will fall under the infrastructure for the AI system. So there might be vulnerabilities in that area. Configuration vulnerabilities in cloud services. So since we are going to use cloud a lot with respect to AI, since it is resource exhaustive and cost consuming, so we'll be talking mostly about cloud area only with respect to AI. So model stealing. So you have spent some XYZ $1 billion in order to build a proper model, and someone comes and siphon off your secret sauce, then there is no point in actually investing so much amount, right? So that's what we are talking about. And prompt extraction. Anyone has heard about DeepSeek, right? So there is an allegation on DeepSeek saying that it is storing all the prompts generated by every individual who is interacting with it. And imagine if you are giving any sensitive information as a prompt to DeepSeek, it will someday be extracted either by the DeepSeek's company itself, or if at all the Chinese government, if it deems to extract those prompts, deep learning, the DeepSeek model that is out there, they have to give the information to the Chinese government. So that is a serious allegation they have on their head right now. And then comes inadequate evaluation and testing. So as I mentioned, anticipate risks and try to accommodate security measures in place first, and then see the effectiveness or the efficacy of the security controls in place. And in maintenance phase, we talk about delayed security patches. So it might be both for the AI system or any third-party products or services that we are using for the system. As I spoke about model decay and concept drift, so sometimes the model that we trained upon will not be relevant because of the changes that are happening rapidly in the different environments outside. So there is a risk of model decay. For this, we have to completely retrain the model sometimes, or it should be a continuous training program that you need to have so that your model stays up to date. Insider threats. So sometimes people sitting inside the company, they are going to leverage their credential and misuse their power and then cause some sort of havoc with respect to stealing the data or injecting some sort of malicious code into the system. So insufficient logging, not having proper logging mechanism to ensure the performance metrics or any security breach or malicious activity will pose a threat. So that is what we are talking about here. So what are the different types of risks that we are talking about? So the first one is model poisoning. So a perpetrator can poison the model so that it will give some malicious output, or it is going to remove the security guardrail or ethical guardrail in an AI system. Then comes adversarial attacks, where hackers can leverage AI for the wrong, or they can input or exploit some sort of third-party binaries or APIs to perform some sort of adversarial attack. Data breaches. So since we spoke about AI being a high-value target, it is trained on millions or billions of parameters of data or information. So it is a treasure trove of information. So people are directly trying to exploit the model itself to extract all the information that it is being trained on. And model inversion. So to extract sensitive data or intellectual property by querying AI model repeatedly. So as I spoke in the initial segment, where we spoke about people bypassing that ethical control using a different approach towards prompts. So that's what we are talking about in model inversion. Denial of service. I believe everyone understands what is denial of service. So they ensure that the model doesn't respond to its intended user. Then comes AI system hacking itself, where perpetrators identify a high-valued machine or a system which is trained on custom data, and if at all it is an area of interest for them, they can directly hack the AI machine itself. Then comes data integrity attacks. So a lot of information that has been fed or is being fed into the system, if someone gets compromises that particular info. So if you go to DeepSeek and talk about the particular China massacre that happened with respect to some protest in the recent times, it is not going to show any information with respect to that. It will just bypass the question. It is because they have ensured that a ethical guardrail has been set up so that it will bypass any question which is being asked about the Chinese government. Okay. And the model theft, as I spoke about earlier, so you spend some millions or billions of dollars in a system, and someone is coming and directly hacking that machine. It makes no sense. And lack of robustness, so not having proper security protocols or security safeguards in place will cause certain havoc later. And then lack of explainability. So in the current trend that people are following outside, chat gpt will never become an enterprise grade solution. It is because it is called a black box model. What is a black box model? So you don't know what information chat gpt has been trained upon, or what information is being relayed to chat gpt systems, or where it is being stored, or how it is being processed. So that is why it is called a black box model. But that is the reason that now they are coming with an enterprise grade system, where they are saying that you can give your data and we will train our model with your data only, and we will give you that particular exclusion for our main systems. And then comes autonomous system manipulation. So any vulnerabilities that inside an autonomous systems, for example, I believe everyone knows Tesla, right? So it has this feature called autopilot, which can actually drive through busy city streets using its own lidar sensors. It understands when to apply brakes, when to hit on accelerator. What if someone tampers with that particular reasoning of that particular autonomous systems? So it is going, for example, the moment it sees someone, it is going to hit brake, right? What if it believes that, okay, fine, this user might not be a threat to me, I can just run it over him? Then that is going to cause a problem for the particular autonomous system. And then supply chain risks, as I spoke about, from raw material to the finished product. What are all the intermediaries that are out there? If any part of the supply chain gets compromised, the entire system gets compromised. So that's the reason today in US, frankly speaking, any government department, any hardware or software that is coming in, at least for the sake of US Department of Defense, every laptop gets dissected. Now they have a different wing built it for verifying any hardware coming from any outside country inside their infrastructure. They are going to check at the chip level to see if there is any spyware that is being injected into this particular asset that is coming inside. So the same goes for AI also. One part of the supply chain gets breached, the entire system gets compromised. Then comes backdoor attacks. So with respect to malware that we are talking about, and any logic bombs that we are including, any suspicious or malicious data that we are providing will cause an issue there. And ethical exploitation, misuse of AI. So as I spoke already, AI is being used for both good and bad. So you can generate something called as synthetic voice also. So synthetic data generation that we are calling. You can talk about deep nudes. So deep fakes are long gone. Now we are talking about deep nudes. One photograph, 30 seconds of your audio is more than enough to create a complete fake video or an audio out of whatever data that has been fed to it. So these are some of the case studies. I don't want to bore you with this. Just an example of how AI was, compromised in recent times. In China, they have implemented an AI-based system in a tax or what you call live facial recognition authentication to grant adversaries access to privileged systems. It allowed hackers to impersonate victims. So two individuals in China used this method to infiltrate the local government's tax system. They established a fake subsidiary and issued invoices to fictitious clients. And what was the outcome of this breach? The scheme, initiated in 2018, resulted in a fraudulent acquisition of $77 million. So they have been using this particular AI machine. They have morphed some images, they have created some fake subsidiaries, and they were able to siphon off $75 million out of the tax system. So what are the key takeaways? So what I wanted to convey from this is adopt security throughout the life cycle. Throughout the life cycle, enhance threat modeling and testing, and prioritize data quality and integrity. So whatever information that you are feeding into it, you have to be responsible enough to deal with the data consequences. And develop AI specific incident response. So in the current time, we don't have any incident response plan specific to AI. Now it is high time for us to bring an IR plan for AI. Then collaborate and stay informed. So life is too short to make all the mistakes by ourselves and learn from it. So we have to learn from others' mistakes as well. So that's what we are talking about, collaboration. Then, so what are the current limitations or challenges that we see outside? Limited AI awareness. So recently, after ChatGPT went public, one company, like it is a big four in Hyderabad, they terminated the entire team. Not because AI system is doing their work or it is because AI has replaced them. What happened? One individual, he didn't have the awareness of how ChatGPT works. He took some proprietary code of his client and directly copy pasted that code into ChatGPT and asked it for some suggestions with respect to tweaking and adjustment for the code. And somehow the client got to know this and he terminated the project and he terminated the entire team right away. So there was no issue from the user's end, frankly. He didn't know how it works. So the same goes here in the first point where we have limited AI awareness. So most of us are unaware of how AI works. You are using ChatGPT, you are using any other model that is out there, but you have very limited awareness on how it works, what it takes to build an AI system, and the security and privacy components involved in AI. And lack of AI specific security measures. As I mentioned, our traditional methods will not work for AI. Since the entire infrastructure with respect to AI is different, the technology, the backbone of AI is completely different to the conventional technology that we have been used to. And risk classification gaps. So there is no proper AI risk classification metric or a mechanism in place, which now is being considered. So there are some bodies globally in UK, US, and Europe who are actively building a risk management framework for AI as well. No dedicated incident response plan, which I spoke about. We don't know how to deal in terms of an attack which happens on AI machines. So way forward, so invest in AI security R&D and specialized skill sets. So if you have to survive tomorrow, if you have to land a job, you need to understand how AI works. So if you want to become a full stack developer, frankly speaking, if you know AI, it is just a day's job for you to build a complete website end to end. So you cannot compete with AI, that's what I want to say. You have to work with AI. So only then you can survive in this domain, especially any domain which is involving technology in it. So refine regulatory and compliance frameworks for AI. So every country has to come up with some sort of ethical enforcement in with respect to how to use it. And in terms of an adversarial attack, what is the operative mechanism for a country or an entity? Share threat intelligence and case studies. Implement continuous monitoring for emerging threats. So if at all tomorrow you are going into project management, you have been tasked with taking up certain areas to deploy AI machines. So you have to understand these key components. The first one would be the risk management. You have to identify, anticipate, and cater to those risks inside an AI system. Then stakeholder engagement. If at all inside a corporate you are working, you have to deal with the IT teams, legal teams, and the compliance and the regulatory teams inside a company. Scheduling and resource allocation. Since I spoke about AI job is not done once it has been deployed, the work begins after deployment, frankly, because of modeling and the maintenance phase, because you have to do something called as continuous retraining, so to avoid model decay. So there you have to anticipate about the project requirements, the costs incurred, and the expertise that you would require. And the regulatory compliance part, which I was talking about. So you have to be wary of what type of regulatory guidelines have been set whenever you are dealing with any country. So you have to abide by their jurisdictional laws for AI. So what is the bottom line? What I would like to say, I'm not saying AI is bad, but at the end, AI's unique vulnerabilities expose new complex cyber threats. A single unaddressed phase can undermine entire security posture. So this is just in a nutshell, I wanted to explain about AI vulnerabilities and AI specific risks. If you have any questions, I am open for answering that. Any questions? Cool. Either you understood everything or it just flew above your head. But if you have any questions, you can definitely reach out. I'll just try to clarify any doubts that you would have. Over to you, Kishore Garu.
Oh, Mr. Sai Krishna, Singapuram, a big round of clap. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear students, Senior Cybersecurity Consultant, Cybersecurity Center of Excellence, Data Security Council of India, Government of India. Big round of clap.